All right, folks, last two problems. Okay, so let's take a look here. We have pre-tax book income of 480. Again, we got some tax exempt interest, so you know we're going to subtract that. Okay, and you can see that right down here, subtracting it right here. This guy. Okay, going to subtract that. Then we have depreciation again, so that's going to be tax exceeds book, so we're going to subtract that, and then we're going to add this one here. So you can see we're subtracting the excess depreciation, adding this one back, so 494. Okay, 494 by the 21%. There's our current tax expense. Okay, now let's take a look at our deferreds. We had the 15,000 times 21%. This is deferred tax liability of 3,150. But then we had a deferred tax asset of 7,350. Okay, so net we have a $4,200 deferred tax asset. Okay, so beginning we had, let's see here, $6,000 deferred tax liability, $2,000 deferred tax asset. So basically we wind up coming up here to deferred tax, $4,000 deferred tax liability, negative 4,200 on our deferred tax asset, minus the $4,000 deferred tax liability gives us a $8,200 benefit. So what does that mean? We're going to wind up with a deferred tax asset. So our income tax payable is going to be 103,740. Our income tax expense, 9,540. And you can see that right here because we're subtracting that. Okay, so there's our income tax expense. We have a net deferred tax asset right here of 8,200 that we're paying up ahead of time. So we're going to have to send them 103,740. Okay, so you can see here we switched over. We're having deferred tax asset now, which basically means we're paying tax ahead of time, which nobody likes to do. Okay, but we'll be able to use that later on. Okay, all right, next one here. Pre-tax book income, $510,000. We have penalties, so we're going to subtract that. We have depreciation, we're going to subtract that because tax exceeds, then book. So we're going to wind up adding that back in. 21% interest. Oops. Where's my, hold on, let me go back up. What happened here? Come on. Oh, then it's getting confused. Why? Sorry, folks. My machine's a little confused here. Why is this confused? Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry. What's going on? Stop the confusion. Okay. It's way over there now. Okay. Can we go back up? Okay. Sorry. Machine gets a little quirky because I had the pen too close. All right. So we started out with a deferred tax asset and deferred tax liability that were equal. Okay, when you added all these up together, you wind up with $520,000. So the 10,000, we add that back in, subtract the depreciation, add the warranty or whatever the other expense was. So we come up with 109,000. Now we have a deferred tax liability and deferred tax asset, so that nets to zero, right? So our beginning with net was zero, our change was zero. So total tax provision is the 109 just the way it was. Okay. Effective tax rate is the 109 divided by the 510, 21.41%. And you could see there's no deferred, no DTA or DTL in this case. Okay. Again, if we go back up and take a look at this one, again, here we wound up with, this was one that we had the deferred tax asset. Okay, deferred tax asset, the change, the minus change basically means you're going to wind up lowering that from your expense, but you're going to wind up using it later. So you can see these two here, $8,200 benefit. We're going to have to pay this now, but we're going to get benefit of this later. Okay. All right, folks, that's it. Going over the problems. Just to let you know, I've created a thing of 5 problems for you to do as a homework assignment. You can use these as examples to go by. So I'm going to post all this up for you tomorrow, and you should be good when it comes to working out these kind of problems. All right, folks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.